Hey, welcome to Road Testament. I'm Mike Spinelli. Leo Parente's here. And hit us up on @Drive, where we've posted a question about automotive journalism. Is automotive journalism relevant anymore?
And it's the New York Auto Show week, so is that why you're raising this question?
Yes, it's New York Auto Show week, and the media's in town, and we're here in New York, and so we were going to go over to the auto show during press days. We're going to be talking to journalists, we're going to be talking to PR people, and we're going to be talking to just people there. Because at the end of the day, there's so much information out there. Do you really need automotive journalists to tell you about cars? Can you just go to a forum and find out from peers, other people who own that car?
And I love it. My limited exposure to journalists, they're an angry bunch. I want to know why.
Anyway, that's today on Road Testament. Stay tuned. Stay with us. So we asked you on Twitter, what is it that you want out of automotive journalism? What you want automotive journalists to say to you? What value you want automotive journalists to add to the conversation? And let's see what you guys said. So Lewis says, not just regurgitate press releases from manufacturers, test a whole range of cars, not just new, and most of all, be honest. Also, want to be a relevant automotive journalist, be frank, be interesting, and above all, prove that you love cars like I do. Evan says, show us what we want to see, make us believe we are doing the testing by putting the tested cars through the ringer in every way. Robert says, provide all this information in a readable fashion in one place, catering to a specific niche tends to help in some cases. And Daniel says, give it that personal touch. Sure, the content is about the cars, but also add in your own sense of humor and personality to the story. Okay, those are all valid points. Now let's go ask some actual automotive journalists and some of the people in the industry what they think their job is and what they can provide above and beyond the stuff you can already get on the internet.
I think automotive journalists add a perspective, number one, that is hopefully reasoned, well thought out, and it has a long, rich background to comment on stuff. Because a lot of stuff, isn't new. We've seen it before, right? Things like that. And also, there is so much stuff. You need a filter. You need people to point and say, this is interesting. You have 5 minutes, look at A, B, and C, not the whole breadth of everything. And secondly, there comes a certain satisfaction from something that's presented well. And it's well thought out. And of course, it's well written. Yeah, you can get all this stuff on the internet, you can get it on blogs, but it's some guy who's got an axe to grind. He's not very objective. He's not presenting both sides. It's very unprofessional. And where are you going to go to get that information that we as car people love, but it's valid information? And that's where I think ours is our greatest role.
There's always going to be a place for automotive journalists because they're experts in the field and they can take a lot of information from us as manufacturers and kind of put it in a way that consumers can understand it. A great example for our Infiniti is we pioneered things like lane departure prevention and backup collision intervention, those kind of new technologies. It was really helpful to have journalists explain that to consumers. There's also a place for consumer media as well, social media, because that's personal experiences. You can give tidbits of how actually a consumer is, the experiences they've had with the car. But we also need automotive journalists to tell those stories. Another great example is when we became a sponsor of the Red Bull Racing F1 team last year. A lot of people were, why would you do that? There's not a lot of F1 races in the United States, and journalists really helped to explain to consumers and explain to the public why we were going for it, and really helped us get the word out and expand the Infiniti brand around the world.
Well, the presumption is that the automotive journalist is an expert going in. So if you are an auto journal and you feel like, I really need to be an expert at this, well, are you doing your job to begin with? So your job, I think, to separate, listen, there's a voracious appetite for this information. You know how it is. The information leaks out, people in the forums totally engaged. A lot of them are actual customers for these cars that a lot of times the auto journalists these are cars that a journalist isn't going to buy for any variety of reasons. But if you're good at what you do, you can tell a story about that car through your personal interaction with it. And which a lot of people in forums may not be able to interact with the car that you're talking about. So it's all about the story. Tell a good story, be entertaining, make people want to read your stuff, and your job will continue to exist.
No, automotive journalists are no longer relevant. The PR teams do a pretty good job of regurgitating what they're saying on their own. I don't think they need a journalist to help them do that. I think that there's very little that automotive journalists are able to add to the conversation right now that isn't already being said by the enthusiasts. I think what we need to be doing as people who love cars is that we need to be highlighting the best conversations that are going on out there. We need to be finding people who are talking about it, new cars, old cars, We need to be finding people that are, are breaking the stories on their own. Citizen journalism isn't a lie, it's real. And now we just need to promote it.
I like the old school view of automotive journalism where you tell a story. You can read automotive journalism for the facts, but you can also read it for the entertainment. And what's more entertaining than writing about cars? There are a couple of automotive journalists I can think of right now that are amazing, have that sort of unique point of view. They've nailed it down and everything, what they're doing, what they can bring to consumers. So that's like finding your own voice and everything. It's really important, especially now when there are so many automotive journalists. Like, look around, all these people, and you got to find your own thing. You got to do your own thing, and just stay out of the clutter.
There's a lot of information about cars out there, obviously, but the days, I think, in order to remain relevant, the days of objective journalism are over. We have to be subjective. We have to come out and add value, not just rehash a press release. Anybody can do that. Anybody can go out and take a picture. Anybody can go out and, write something that's already been written by, a big PR team. What journalists need to do is go out and, it sounds cliche, but get the backstory, add some value, add some humor, add some insight, add something that you're not going to get just by walking in, driving the car, having a little quick spin around it, and going to a dealership for a test drive. We got to add value, basically, is what we need to do. There's no other way around it.
You're just like a David Denby at the New Yorker doing a movie critic, right? You read his stuff, you get the idea of what that movie is. Plus, it's so well written, you read it even if you don't like the movie. And I think that's what we should aspire to with our car tests. And really what you're trying to do is, because a spec sheet anybody can read, you're not regurgitating that. You're trying to put people behind the wheel. And now, since cars are getting so similar in terms of price, fuel economy, all things that used to separate them, what is separating cars? And to me, it's that emotional man-machine connection. And that's, of course, where we get the most satisfaction. So how do you bring that to readers? And it's not easy. And so there's a lot of bloggers that can try and do it. They can get a car for a while and they say it's XYZ. But in my view, there's only a small handful of folks that do it really well. So our job as automotive journalists is to try and aspire to that.
Okay, so we came into the New York Auto Show today to try to figure out what it is you guys want from automotive journalism above and beyond the things that you can get online, the backstory from the automakers, stuff on the forums, and all the information you can get just by surfing around. But what is it that you want from automotive journalists? And I think what you guys have said to us and what automotive journalists kind of seem to know is that it's all about telling a good story, getting the right information, getting the information that enthusiasts want to know about. So if there's something about a particular car, a detail that's something that's part of that car's mystique, they got to go in there and know whether they have to ask the engineers, or they have to get the information that enthusiasts want to get, because they have the access to that. And they can't squander the access that they have. And I think that people are kind of frustrated with journalists that tend to regurgitate press releases and things like that. Those are things that we've heard in the past about people who've been, less than favorable or felt less than favorable about automotive journalism. But when it comes to the people that are telling stories online now, the best ones that do it, they're the ones that get the most respect from our viewers and from most readers and viewers out there. So if there's anything we found out today that wasn't blatantly obvious coming in here, it's that. It's good storytelling, rigorous information gathering, and a real interest in the car, almost being a super enthusiast. So that's what we found out here at the New York Auto Show. I'm Mike Spinelli. This has been Road Testament. I'll see you later.